Hello everyone, welcome to Web Technology series. Myself Nandita Shri. In today's session, we are going to understand the foundation of web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and how they work together to build modern websites. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand structure, styling, and behavior of web pages. Let's begin. First of all, HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Let's understand each word clearly. Hypertext, hyper, that is the reference or link, and text is the data or information. So that refers to the text that links to other resources, enabling easy navigation between documents or web pages. Next is the markup, that is predefined. It is a way to structure and organize content using tags that define the roles of elements. And language, it's like a communication where it has a set of predefined rules and syntax used for creating and formatting web content. So in simple words, HTML is used to create the structure of web pages. Now let's look at how HTML evolved over time. HTML 1.0, that is at 1993, that introduced the basic structure, and HTML 2.0 that added forms and tables in that interactive standard. HTML 3.2 that supported scripting and applets. HTML 4.01 that improved the styling and accessibility, and HTML5 that introduced rich media like audio, video, canvas, and responsive design. Today we use HTML5. So this is the basic HTML structure. So it starts with the doc type that tells the version of HTML, and then root element and some metadata that includes head, title, and so on. And next is the body section where we will include some kind of HTML tags within it, and then the closing element of HTML. And this is the HTML markup syntax, a graphical overview of the HTML markup syntax that includes the tag name and attribute. Attribute includes attribute name as well as value. It is like a name value pair. For every HTML element, there will be an opening tag and closing tag, and we will mention some attributes within it, and there will be some content. So tag, attribute, content, and with closing tag. So these are the overall HTML element. Let's see some HTML tags. First is the HTML heading. It is used to create titles and subtitles in order of importance. Like H1 is the most important, that is the main title, and H6 is the least important, smallest title. So headings automatically decreases in size from H1 to H6. Next is the HTML paragraph. Here the P tag is used to define a paragraph of a text. So paragraphs in HTML are separated by a blank line automatically, which creates a clean and organized text. Then HTML line breaks, that is denoted by BR. That BR tag is used to insert a single line break within a paragraph. As we know, P tag is a self-closing tag that breaks the line immediately and moves the rest of the text to the next line. Next is HTML images, which is denoted by IMG, that image tag, that is used to embed an image in HTML or a web page. Here we will use some kind of attributes like SRC, the source attribute that specifies the path to the image file, and ALT, the alternate attribute that provides a text description for accessibility. and the width and height, those are the dimension of the image. HTML elements, the anchor tag or the A tag that is used to create hyperlinks to other web pages. The href attribute, that is the hypertext reference that specifies the destination URL, and the clickable text is placed between the A tag, which has the closing as well as opening tag. Next is HTML list. There are three types of tags included here, which is UL, OL and LI. These three tags are used to create list within the HTML. The UL is the unordered list that will display the list with the bullet points. And OL tag, that is the ordered list with the numbers. And LI tag defines each list item within the list. HTML forms. These collect data from the user because this data can be sent to the server for processing. So this example shows a simple HTML form. It collects a user's name and email address. The form uses input fields for text and email, label for clarity, and a button with type submit to send the data. So HTML forms allows us to collect and send user data to a server. So forms are used for login pages, registration forms and feedback systems. HTML collects data but doesn't process it. So that's where the JavaScript comes in. So now let's move on to CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So let's understand how CSS evolved over time. CSS 1, 1996. So it mainly focuses on basic styling for HTML elements such as colors, fonts, spacing and text alignment. So this was the beginning of separating content from the design. So however, CSS 1 is no longer maintained by W3C, World Wide Web Consortium. Next, CSS 2 was introduced in 1998. It added support for downloadable fonts and bidirectional text. And it also improved layout control as well as positioning. Later, CSS 2.1 is refined and corrected many issues. But still, it is no longer actively maintained by W3C. And next is CSS 3 was introduced in 1999. Unlike earlier versions, it was divided into separate modules. This means features like animations, transitions, flexbox, grid, as well as some media queries were developed independently. So CSS 3 preserves backward compatibility as well as meaning older CSS code still works. This modular approach allows CSS to grow faster and support modern web design. So CSS evolved from basic styling in CSS 1 to advanced layout systems and animations in CSS 3, making modern responsive web design possible. So CSS is the language we use to style a web page. So it describes how HTML elements are displayed on screen, paper or other media, and it also saves a lot of work because one CSS file can control multiple web pages at a time. So external style sheets are stored in .css files. And why use CSS? CSS is used to define styles including design, layout, device response and screen size adoption. So without CSS, websites look plain and boring. CSS syntax. CSS syntax has selectors that will point to HTML element, the declaration block that contains properties, the properties and values that has been separated by a colon, and multiple declarations holds many properties and values that has been separated by the semicolon. So this is the basic CSS syntax where a type selector within a declaration block we hold one declaration that has one single property and value. And here a single declaration block has multiple declaration which holds multiple property and values. And there are three types of CSS: inline, internal and external. Inline CSS that apply directly inside element with the help of style attribute. Internal CSS that used within the style tag. External CSS that uses a separate .css file. So these are the syntax where inline has been applied directly inside that element itself, and internal means within the style tag which is present in the header section, and external means with the link tag we can provide the relation to that HTML file with the extension of .css file. So inline CSS. The inline style may be used to apply a unique style for a single element. To use inline styles, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. As you can see here, the H1 element that holds the style of color blue and text aligners to be center. Internal CSS or embedded CSS. So it is used if a single HTML page has a unique style. The internal style is defined inside the style element inside the head section. Within the head section there will be a style tag, and within that we can mention the HTML element and with the properties and values in the declaration block. So like as you can see in this example, the P tag, the paragraph tag and H1 within the body itself. So the body element holds the background color as linen. External CSS. With an external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. Each HTML page must include a reference to the external style sheet file inside the link element inside the head section. So an external style sheet can be written in any text editor and must be saved with the extension of .css. And the external .css file should not contain any HTML tags. As you can see here, the external CSS file, which is my style, has been linked to the HTML through the link tag, and REL, that is the relation, which is the style sheet relation between the HTML and CSS file. Cascading order. When multiple styles are applied, priority order is important. First is the inline, second internal, and third is the external. However, the specificity and importance can override this. As you can see here, the body has hold both the inline as well as the internal style sheets. So, which one have more priority? That inline. So the inline style, the background color lavender only as executed on the output, not the background color as green, because inline has a higher priority than the internal. And what CSS can control? It is used to style as well as control the look of HTML elements. So this code snippet shows basic CSS. It styles a div element by setting its text color to white, font to Arial, size to 20 pixel, adds padding, margin as well as some background color of steel blue with a navy border. So CSS is used to control colors, fonts, spacing, layout and backgrounds of elements. Next is overview of JavaScript. So JavaScript is the programming language of the web. It can update and change HTML as well as CSS and calculate some data, manipulate and validate some data as well as forms. So JavaScript for programs are the behavior of web pages. So it has been invented by Breeden Inc. in 1995 and became an ECMA standard in 1997. So what JavaScript is? As I told, it is the programming language that makes web pages interactive and dynamic. It helps to do things like respond to button clicks, change text on a web page, or handles form submissions and make pages interactive instead of static. How JavaScript works in the browser. When you visit a web page, JavaScript code runs inside your browser to handle logic and interactivity. So when you enter a name, a John, and then click submit, the browser, it will load the page first and then read the JavaScript code. And lastly, it will update the page to show the result as hello John. JavaScript basic code structure. As you can see here, this example shows a simple JavaScript function that adds two numbers and returns the sum. So when we call the function using arguments 5, 3, it returns the result as 8. The function is the keyword that starts a reusable block of code. And function name, the name we give to our function. And parameters inside, the num1, num2, those are the input values we send to the function inside parentheses. And function code inside the curly braces that will be executed when the function has been called. And each line of code ends with a semicolon. Function call, that will runs the function and obtain the result. The arguments inside, those are the actual values that will be sent when calling the function. So this is the basic code structure of JavaScript. The variables and data types in JavaScript. Variables are used to store data values that can change throughout a program. So this example shows how to declare variables in JavaScript and assign them different data types. Here we store a number, that is age, and a string, a name, a boolean is student, and a floating point number, score. As shown in the output, JavaScript remembers and outputs the stored values. Operators. Operators are used to perform operations on values, like doing some math or comparing things. This example shows how to use different operators in JavaScript. We do math with arithmetic operators, compare values with comparison operators, and combine conditions with logical operators to get results like those shown in the output. Conditionals. It will run the different code based on whether something is true or false. So this example shows how to use if-else statement in JavaScript. The program checks if the score is 60 or higher. If true, it prints congratulations, you passed. Otherwise, it prints sorry, you have failed. Loops in JavaScript that allows us to run the same block of code multiple times. So here it shows how to use loops in JavaScript to repeat actions. The for loop repeats based on a set of number of iterations, and while loop repeats as long as condition is true. Each loop prints numbers, that's from 1 to 5 in the output. The output shows all loops printing numbers from 1 to 5. Functions in JavaScript. Functions are a block of code that performs specific tasks and that can be reused. So here we will define and use the function. So the function add num1, num2, that takes two parameters and add them and returns their sum. So we call the function with arguments 5, 3 that returns the value 8 as the output. Event handling. that helps us to make web page interactive by responding to user actions. So here it shows how to handle events in JavaScript. We get a button element with a document.getElement by ID. Then attach a click event listener. When the button is clicked, an alert pops up to show button was clicked with an OK button to close it. So today we covered HTML structure and its versions, HTML elements and forms, CSS styling and syntax, cascading order, JavaScript fundamentals, variables, operators, loops, functions, and event handling. So these three technologies form the foundation of web development. So thank you for watching.